Hello, divine beings, peace, love, abundance, blessings. This is AstroPapi, and I'm doing a video today on working with spirit guides and things to know before working with spirit guides, because my YouTube channel has grown a lot through talking about working with different deities and demons. But I want you to remember that you are a spirit guide yourself, that you are a divine being yourself, that you are a god and a goddess yourself, and that working with these different deities is not for you to get lost in the sauce, meaning that you're not supposed to think that your power comes from your association with a certain spirit. And yes, these spirits do bring us power, they bring us guidance, they bring us wisdom, they bring us love, they bring us some pretty divinely strong protection. And that is something that I will always give it down to my spirit guides, to my spiritual team, my spiritual court, is that yo, when it's time to fight, they always hold it down. So in this video, sorry, somebody's calling me, let me cancel that. In this video, I want to talk about the importance of remembering that you yourself are a deity, that you yourself are a divine being, and that all these different guides are coming forward to remind you of that. And each one has a specific medicine, a specific approach, and you are just supposed to learn with them more about embodying your own divinity, more about embodying your own sacredness. And there's even different archetypes of guides that come forward from different pantheons. You have your warriors that remind you to step into that warriorhood, to that warlike state where things just need to be taken care of. And this is also about speaking with that throat chakra, speaking with your truth, emanating truth. Then you have the goddesses, the deities of Venus, that remind you to love yourself, to nurture yourself, to serenade yourself, that remind you that lust comes from within. And then you have your mercurial spirits, the ones who give you wisdom, the ones who give you insight, such as Thoth and Hermes. All right, and there's so much more. They can be broken down by planets. They can be broken down by different parts of the Kabbalah tree of life, which is Kemetic in its origin. You can look at different Sephiroths. So if you're trying to understand the importance of deities, then I would say look at astrology, look at the planets and the asteroids, but also look at the Kabbalah and the Sephiroth. And remember that even the planets themselves are deities. Even the Sephiroth themselves are beings of consciousness. Everything, y'all, has a consciousness, and you can be in that frequency of connecting with it. And these different deities are embodiments of that. Even when you look at the Orisha, and I definitely need to make videos on the Orisha, but coming from the perspective of a non-initiate in any religion associated with Orisha, because here's the truth, y'all. Orisha will come to you if they want to come to you, and there's nothing more to it. I'm not here to complicate anything. I'm just here to say the truth. And Orishas are embodiments of nature, and when you are in nature, you will find them. A lot of these deities are embodiments of nature, including the Egyptians, and when you are in nature, you will find them. They will communicate, and nature will have different bodies. For example, the ocean can be Olokun, who is the Orisha of the deep waters. It can also be Yemaya, who is the mother of the seven seas. And also in Yoruba culture, it can be Mamiwata, the primordial goddess of the ocean. It can be Poseidon, the Greek god of the ocean as well. So there's different faces, there's different bodies that these elements of nature, these elements of space, these elements of existence, these elements of the tree of life, they manifest through these different beings, through these different faces, through these different names, through these different stories, through these different narratives. And it's not to say that they're all can be categorized into one, but it's more so that spirit has so many different faces and expressions, and all these guides come at the right time. You never have to look outside of yourself for a spirit guide, because these spirit guides come to you, and that's just the downright truth. You don't ever have to look for a guide. You have to figure out which ones are calling to you, and one way or another, they're going to make themselves known, and they will flirt, and they will tease, and they will surround you in and out of your life, just to let you know, yo, I'm here. When it's go time, it's go time. And even that, do it when you are ready. Do it when you feel right, because when you are connecting with the deity, you are now going to embody more of their energy. So, for example, I have a Santa Muerte candle here, and as y'all know, I love La Santísima Muerte. But when I am connecting to La Santísima Muerte's energy, that's a very different energy than connecting to a Venus energy or an energy of love, of lust. Santa Muerte's energy is more of the crone mother from the three paths of the divine feminine: the mother, the maiden, and the crone. The crone is the elder, the being who teaches you so much about occult knowledge, wisdom, and seeing things beyond the veil. So this is to say, you have to think about which spirits are coming to you and think about their energy and ask yourself, in my life experiences, are these beings going to support me? Does embodying this energy going to support me? And if you feel like you need something that's more softer, go to a being who is more Venusian and love-like. But if you feel like you want to learn more, you want to go beyond the veil, then connect to something that is more of a dark element or embodies darkness from a place of love, because darkness isn't bad. Light isn't good either. There's just different embodies of it. Light can be very prude, it can be very self-righteous, and darkness could be wrathful, but it can also be Kali. It can be the love of a mother. It can be the embracing of things changing, of things ending, of surrendering to ego, having a ego death that allows you to transform and see the beauty of your own soul. Remember, yo, that even though you're connecting with deities, you also have yourself to tend to. And I find this a lot with certain readings that I do with clients, where they feel bad, they feel guilty that they're not giving enough to their guides. And there's a time and place, y'all, where your guides have an understanding that you have a human life, that you have bills to pay, that you're occupied with health, with kids, with family, with whatever it is, with moving. And you don't have to feel like you have to follow these rules. And that's why me, in my own spirituality, I tend to write very alone. I tend to do my own thing, and I tend to really embody freedom, because I don't like religions. I don't like the rules that religions make. And I know that sometimes that group setting is good for certain people. That thing about following specific rules, following specific chants to embody a certain spirit works for certain people. It don't work for me. I'm gonna be straight up. I like my freedom. I connect with what I'm meant to connect with, and I keep it that simple. I can talk to different pantheons, and people really can do that if they really want to. Different beings of different pantheons, they just can't be limited in their mind. And it's also about your capacity. You don't have to connect with spirit guides to be spiritual. And you don't have to connect with spirit guides that are approaching you all the freaking time. Not every deity who comes to you do you need to take in. Not every spirit that comes to you do you need to take in. And that's something that I've had to learn the hard way, is that there'll be spirits that like you because you are open, because you are a perfect person, a perfect channel for them to speak through, and they want that company. And they find somebody who has that energy and that space to be able to take them in. But here's the thing, y'all: when you meet a spirit, it's not disrespectful to ask, what is the energy exchange that is going to happen here? What are you here to teach me, and what am I here to um do to help you? Because there is always something that is being exchanged, and it's as simple as giving offerings. You're giving energy when you're giving offerings, because your time and your money and your creativity and your prayers and your hope, that's all energy. Make sure that that energy is being fed. Make sure that that energy is being nourished. This is not about being tit for tat or being calculated, where I give this to you, you give this to me, but it's more so of just checking in with yourself and asking, do I see differences when embodying a certain guide, a certain deity, a certain spirit guide, or taking them in? Do I see differences or do I not? Be real with yourself, because you can get lost in the sauce. And even though a spirit guide might be cool for somebody else, that spirit guide and you might have issues. That spirit guide and you might not mesh. And I've had to learn that with certain spirit guides that are more restrictive, that are more strict. There's nothing wrong with strictness, but I am a very free spirit. And that's something that I hope comes across in my channel. And the way I do readings is, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to tell you you need to spend a certain amount of time every single day at this certain single hour to do something. And there are rituals like that. And I respect the power of those rituals, but that's just not me, and that's just not my style. I go with flow. I go with what feels called to me in the moment, and that's just who I am. So understand that when you are learning to connect with spirit guides, when you are connecting with deities, angels, demons, whatever it may be, and yes, you can work with both paths, by the way. You can do the left hand path and the right hand path, because I get a lot of people commenting saying like, oh, how can you do both? How can you be in light and dark? Isn't that dangerous? There is a time to be wrathful, and there is a time to embrace peace, trust, hope, and faith. There is a time for everything, y'all. There is a time to be in your light state, your light divinity, and your dark divinity. And it's just about recognizing when does that time need to show up. There's times where you have to listen to your shadows. You're not here to obliterate your shadows. You're here to learn how to work with them. In the same way, your light side, the light side of you, and what ways do you work with the lighter aspects of you, the loving aspects of you, the more innocent aspects of you. And yeah, y'all, darkness and light can coexist. You can work with angels and you can work with demons. Like, you can work with both if you really want to. You don't have to work with either to be spiritual again. You really don't. You can be working with spirit animals as well and have the most profound, powerful spiritual experiences doing rituals with them. You don't need to do anything that I'm saying here. These are just information. This is just information, and these are just experiences that I'm documenting to help anybody who's navigating the spiritual path on their own, because that's really how I navigated mine. And we are moving toward that age where it's not so much about groups, it's not so much about cliques, it's about you knowing that you are the connection to source, that you are the bridge to source, that you are the bridge to spirit. Lastly, you do not need an altar all the freaking time. And this is something that my guides have taught me. I am a very transient being, and sometimes I'm resistant to that, even though my guides have told me time and time again I will be moving around a lot. And you'll probably watch all my YouTube videos and see different setting locations, and I'm open to that in terms of just like moving with that flow. But I've had to let go of some statues in my movements, and I've been told in certain periods to let go of all my spiritual supplies. And what I've learned is that the spirits will always stay with you no matter what physical identification you have with them. If they are your road dogs, they are your road dogs. When there is time of need, they will show up. When you get told by a spirit to do a ritual and you don't have all the materials, you do the best you can. You don't need to have every single material there. The objects matter, but they also don't matter, in the sense that the objects and the tools that you're using, they're just an extension of what's inside of you. They're an extension of your connection with your guides. The statues that you have for certain spirits, that's not the spirit. And that's also not the bridge to the spirit. That statue is an identification of the love that you have with the spirit, or the connection that you have with the spirit. I see it as a handshake between you and that certain deity. Don't rush to make altars with certain deities either. There's some who will push you, and like, if it feels good, it feels good. You should feel excited to do it. You shouldn't feel pressured, but don't rush it either. Vibe with the spirit first. Vibe with them, vibe with them, vibe with them. And also, it's okay to take breaks, and it's okay to have arguments with your spirit guides. I don't know why that isn't talked about. Now, you're not gonna be disrespectful, of course. You're not just gonna be like, yo, this is how I want it and that's it. No, these are elders you're talking to. But remember that students and teachers sometimes argue, and student and teachers sometimes don't agree. And the right deity, a spirit guide who is of love, is going to understand your frustrations, your hesitations, and be compassionate and patient with you while also being stern. So yeah, y'all, this is a little bit about knowing some things before connecting with spirit guides. And again, these spirits are powerful, but I don't want anybody to lose sight of the fact that they are also powerful, and that your higher self can also be a spirit guide who you call upon. Your higher self is a deity as well. And lastly, Earth is a spirit guide. Gaia is a loving being, and we really need to be venerating her too, because Gaia is elevating and we have to elevate with her. And when you give offerings to Earth, when you give libations to Earth, when you connect with Earth intentionally, you can best believe abundance will come in a whole unique and different way. All right, y'all, that's a little bit about spirit and some downloads and messages I have. I wish you all peace. I wish you all love. I wish you all divine abundance. Stay beautiful, stay abundant, stay great. See you in the next channel.